movies that I just watch every single year.
Yeah, there's a lot that I just kind of throw on just to have it
X-Men
on.
movies are just great. Like, you're just doing homework.
I mean, I love the Wolverine movie, like, because a lot of the, like, we'll get into this. But
we will.
We'll get into this. But I feel like a lot of the movies post X-Men 1 was like Wolverine and the X-Men.
Yeah, type
you
shit.
know?
Yeah. It's like the Jackson 5. It's like just Michael Jackson with 4 other dudes.
Yeah.
Type shit.
His brothers, but yeah.
I mean, what are the 4 names?
Yep.
Got him. My point's proven.
Still, right? Yeah. But like, yeah, I mean, there's obviously the other characters are there, but the central stories around Logan.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
For a lot of them until the reboots.
Yeah, and even the reboots, they were kind of trying to like bring him back.
They were trying to.
Will you?
There's some and he was like, nah.
He was like, I'll do 1, and it's the best fucking movie.
Yeah.
We'll get to that because I want to start with the original movies.
Okay.
Because like we were just talking about.
Also, we were not alive when the original cartoon aired, but
True.
We did watch it a lot because they reran it a lot.
True. Same thing with the Spider-Man 90s series.
Spider-Man and
shit's goated.
Yeah.
Bro, these Cyclops glasses are making my vision all wonky. Holy shit. Okay, so first X-Men, 2000 came out. One thing I love about this is the case for this movie, but also early superhero movies in general. They try to be way too serious, and I love it. And I think there's a line, I believe it's in the first one, where he's like, "What do you want us to wear? Blue jumpsuits or whatever?" Yeah. It's like, yes, dude.
Obvious nod to Jim Lee's art in the 90s.
We want you to wear that, please. Yeah. And like they took themselves very seriously.
And then to call back that in X-Men 97, Cable and Cyclops are having a discussion, and they're getting ready to suit up, and Cable's like, "You don't really want me to wear that, do you?" And then Scott is like, "What were you expecting? Black leather?"
Yeah, right? yeah. Because they wear the whole like, I mean, the original cast: Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart,
Hugh Jackman's first big role, to my understanding.
Yeah,
he was, according to him, he was like struggling as an actor and just like wasn't whatever, and then he went and auditioned for
Imagine
Wolverine.
You're a struggling actor and your agent's like, "Dude, you're gonna play a guy in a yellow and blue jumpsuit."
He didn't think it was gonna work. He didn't think it was gonna work.
No,
he just
I don't blame him.
Take it.
No superhero movies.
And then he went on to play the character for 20 years,
going on 25 years.
Yeah,
like to this day, 25 years. Halle Berry, Storm, James Marsden as Cyclops. I think the big thing about this series, and I'll talk about like these movies in general. The relationship between Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen,
oh my god,
is elite.
Oh my god,
elite. And if you're gonna do an X-Men, if you're gonna do X-Men anything, book, cartoon, movie, video game, you have to nail the relationship between Professor
Xavier
X and Magneto. Xavier and Magneto, exactly. You have to nail that, and they did. And I'll even give credit to the other movies as well. Again, we'll talk about that.
The
when
other
we get
movies there. Nail that,
but
nail it.
You got to get this relationship right, and there is such an interesting dynamic.
And then even in movies like Logan, the relationship between Xavier and just his students, and the people that, I mean, like Logan looks at Xavier as a father figure,
exactly,
because Logan didn't know his past. He didn't remember anything about what happened to him.
Yeah.
And Xavier comes in and gave him a home. He gave him a family. And like, Logan's an asshole and he doesn't appreciate it until it's gone.
Right.
But
that's part of his character development, though.
Right.
Is learning to appreciate the family that he's got.
That scene in Logan when he buries Xavier. Damn. Fucking bawling.
Can't let the gang know that I cried all that shit,
bro. Dude, yeah.
Can't let the homies know that made me cry.
Nah, bro. You let everyone know that shit. Everyone fucking cried with that.
Yeah. If you didn't cry during that, bro.
Yeah. Like, come on.
I don't even know what to say. But no, Magneto's in it. Sabretooth is in the first one. I think Sabretooth is better in the later movies.
Origins.
Yeah, I don't love
because they kind of flesh it out a little bit more and make him.
Yeah.
He's more animalistic in this, and Sabretooth in the comics is very evil. Like, he's Wolverine's Reverse Flash.
Yeah.
Hardcore. In the comics, there's a whole running thing where every year on Logan's birthday, he does something to torment him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was one year where some family helped him out, and Sabretooth killed them and used their body parts to spell out happy birthday.
Just an asshole. Just a straight asshole.
Just to do it.
Yeah, just a straight asshole.
And I think what I'm getting at that is that I think the movies needed more of that.
Yeah, I don't think they didn't have their footing with this. This was a good like kickoff,
Mhm.
and this was obviously very historic. But they
Yes.
didn't quite find their footing with the characters.
It's still amazing.
Some of the dialogue is kind of dry. Some of the performances are a little flat, and in the terms of they get better like as the series goes on.
Right.
This is not Hugh Jackman's best movie as Wolverine. He gets better.
No.
He
God,
gets better.
no.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
gets way better.
God no. But the best parts about these early movies is Wolverine
Yes.
and
yes.
how Hugh Jackman portrays him.
Yes,
It's
absolutely.
amazing.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
And again, they do lean on him a lot, like during the plot. Like it is very Wolverine heavy,
Mhm.
which is fine. I get he's the main character. He is the X-Man, for
Mhm.
lack of a better term.
And as a kid, for the longest time, I thought that's why they were called the X-Men.
Yeah, me too. Because I thought that was the X.
Yeah, and like
Yeah.
Wolverine is always doing this shit with his claws and
Yeah.
like whatever.
Yeah, I will say I'm not a huge fan of James Marsden's Cyclops. They didn't flesh him out very well.
It's a good jumping off point.
Yeah, even in the other two movies, I'm kind of like,
It's dated now, but back then he was Cyclops.
yeah, I do think it's hilarious.
I
how
do like the new. I don't know his name, but the newer guy who played Cyclops.
He's a little whiny, but he's fine.
I like him.
He's a little whiny.
I
Yeah.
think it's good.
I also think it's hilarious. It's actually hilarious how Logan is in love with Jean Grey, and the second Scott dies, bet.
Yeah. He's like, oh,
Bet. Sin.
Yeah,
Sorry.
now I will preface this by saying I haven't seen the worst of the franchise.
You have
I
not
have
seen-
not seen Last Stand or Dark Phoenix.
Oh my god, I have so much to say about.
All right, well, let's get into it. So X1, right? I mean, we kind of touched on X1. I think that's
it's a good jumping off
it's a
point.
good jumping off point.
And again, you got to remember,
Introduces
there's no point of
Wolverine.
reference, so they're kind of just making shit from scratch.
That's not entirely true. During this time, I mean, you had all the '90s and the Jim Lee
I'm
era,
talking about like live action,
and that's fine.
superhero.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I guess back then they didn't really look at the comics at
because
all.
really, it's really like if you look at superhero movies now, they're funny. They're what this movie's not funny at all. Like it's very serious.
And I like when superhero movies were like this because I personally get more invested in the plot when they are like this. It makes you more. I get way more involved in the world when it does take itself too seriously, and it's just because that's how the comics are. It's fucking comic book characters.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And like, I find it way less fun and entertaining with the newer Marvel stuff where it's all jokes, it's all comedy, it's all just bullshit. They don't take it seriously at all. Like that makes me more angry.
We would also be remiss to mention before we conclude talking about the original, or at least the original three, the X-Men have major like political undertones in terms of like racism.
That's why they were created.
And racism and the gay rights movement. Like those are major themes throughout the X-Men
Mhm.
and major like what's the parallels is what the word I'm
Mhm.
looking for. If you haven't figured it out yet, Professor X is Dr. Martin Luther King,
Mhm.
and Magneto's Malcolm X. It's a pretty one-to-one
Where
comparison.
it's very
Yeah.
they're at the end of the day
They want the
both,
same thing.
They both want the same thing, but
They do it in way different ways.
yes, and Eric is very much kill all humans. We are the dominant race.
Yeah.
Mutants should be running the world, not humans.
Yeah.
And Xavier, even though they try and fail, and in every single X-Men comic, like still to this day, mutants do not coexist
fit
with
in,
humans.
no.
They just don't work.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
a very, very cool parallel. Did Stan Lee created the X-Men? Yeah.
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 I'm gonna say that.
I would bet. I think Jack Kirby and
Yeah, it had to be because it was. I mean, you gotta remember that was like them and the
it
Fantastic
was
Four.
back in the, because if they created it around the time of the civil rights movement, then it would
like
have been
60s,
60s and 70s.
Yeah, it would have been Stan for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. No, I mean, but and again, there's elements of that in all of these original movies. That's one thing I think the originals did really well is kind of embrace those undertones
Right.
of not being accepted. Because the whole faction of the mutants is like people who side with Eric agree that mutants need to take over and they need to, enforce their dominance basically. And then the ones that sided with Professor X say, no, we can help be a force for good. We
Mhm.
can do things better. Like again, like that it shows kind of the mindset of people who are cast aside by society, who are ridiculed, who are whatever. It's a really, really cool parallel to kind of those, racism and all that other stuff. I think that's something that's cool about the X-Men in
Very,
general.
very eloquently put.
Thank you.
Racism and that other stuff.
Racism and that other stuff. I'm glad this isn't being posted in February. No, but it's a cool parallel, and I think these original ones do that really well because, like you said, when they take shit seriously, it stings a little bit more. Stuff like that.
Yeah, and it just, I think it's kind of stupid to look at superhero movies in general as they're for kids or they're not to be taken serious. Dude, fuck that.
Yeah,
there are so many good stories that come from superhero anything.
Yeah.
Like, and when you do take them seriously and you do care about the plot, that's when you get fucking masterpieces like Logan, like Into the Spider-Verse, like Spider-Man 2, all of that shit. It's beautiful. But when a studio comes in and they're like, oh, it's a superhero movie, they're for kids. They don't, they don't know what they want. They don't know what they like.
Yeah. X-Men is very much an adult movie. It's very much like,
X2 ups the ante even more.
Okay, let's talk about, bro. X2 is
X2
awesome.
Is crazy.
The opening to X2
dude, they literally
so cool.
They literally storm into the school to take Logan.
Yep.
Like they're looking for Logan.
Yep.
And like there's a sex scene in this movie.
With Mystique.
Regardless, these movies now, come X2, they up the ante.
Yeah,
There's a lot more blood. There's a lot more
the action's way better.
Shit going on. Like they go deep into what happened to Logan. This movie's all about Logan and like what happened to him.
Yeah.
The whole like last half of the movie is all about him. Also, the most realistic use of any superpower in any superhero movie ever is when Logan takes a soda because there's no alcohol in the X Mansion. So he takes a soda out of the fridge. It's a bottle and he hands it to Iceman and he goes and makes it cold for him. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And then he hands it back to him and he's like, thanks.
Yeah. I like seeing the X-Men just do normal people shit.
Yeah. Like shit like when they're using their powers.
Exactly.
Okay, there's a scene in, I don't know if it's X1 or X2, but the kids are outside playing basketball and one kid uses his powers and the other kids go, hey, no powers.
Yeah.
Like that shit.
Exactly. It's
exactly like what humans would do if we had superpowers.
Yeah,
it's like,
no, exactly.
After you get through the fucking trauma of having superpower. Yeah, I'm a freak and whatever.
Yeah.
After you get over all that and you're with people that are like you,
yeah, exactly.
Then now it's like, hey, dude, like imagine being with your boys. Like, okay, like imagine being friends with like
popping a cold one with Iceman. Dude.
Yeah, like or like sick. Being friends with what's it called? Like Mr. Fantastic. And you're somewhere nowhere near him and you get nut tapped from like 90 feet away. And you're like, dude, fuck off. Oh, yeah. Like, dude.
Yeah. No, X2 is, I think it's pretty universally known that X2 is the best of the originals.
Why is it always the sequels that are the better ones? The Dark Knight, Spider-Man 2,
Shrek.
Yeah. Like,
Star Wars.
I was talking about specifically with
original Star Wars. I
was talking about superhero, like specifically superhero films.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Not Avengers, though.
Yeah, but I mean, whatever, right?
Yeah, whatever.
Iron Man 2.
Nah. Yeah. Iron Man's better than Iron Man 2. Come on now.
I like Iron Man 2 more.
Iron Man's better than Iron Man 2.
Anyway.
Captain America.
Yes. Dude.
The Winter Soldier. Come on.
God, yes.
That's the prime example.
God, yes. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Come on.
My fault.
Yeah, you're right.
But yeah, X2 is great.
Yeah.
We get a Lady Deathstrike cameo in this movie too. Hell yeah.
Nightcrawler's cool as fuck in this movie.
Dude, yeah, the opening. Yeah, thank you.
That's what I was talking about, the opening.
I know, but I forget. I've seen them all. I forget. Like I mix them up.
These movies came out like when we were not born or just barely born, so it's hard to kind of recollect them sometimes.
Yeah.
But then you start talking about them.
Also,
like,
it was a very busy week, and we didn't get time to like actually sit down and watch them this week.
Speak for yourself, bro. I did.
No, you did not.
No, the scene with Nightcrawler where he's jumping through, dude.
Oh yeah,
that shit is so awesome. Cool.
To this day, I don't think there's been.
That might be the best
opening
to a
superhero movie.
That's. I was gonna say something, but I correct myself.
Yeah, no.
But yes, opening.
Yes. I think that movie, fucking
Other than like Endgame, which come on, that's fucking. Or I'm sorry, Infinity War.
Yeah,
that's like the coolest shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on, like you can't get better. Like he's just whooping dude's ass.
Anyway, but yes, X2 is amazing, and we finally get a little bit of a backstory for Logan about what happened to him. Jean Grey dies.
Hold on.
Yeah. Quote unquote, dies. Whatever.
Right.
But yeah. So I mean, X2. But then too, when Magneto escapes from the fucking prison,
he's kind of fruity in this movie, dude.
He rips iron out of a fucking guy's blood.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Insane.
Magneto's like OP as fuck.
Yeah, dude.
Like he's like super
okay,
OP.
in the comics there is a classification for each mutant. He is what is known as an Omega level mutant. Omega level mutants are people like Jean Grey. Like Jean Grey is an Omega level mutant. Storm, Magneto, and Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Because Magneto, I mean, literally think about it like this. The world itself, planet Earth, runs off of magnetic poles. That's how our weather works. And in Ultimatum, the infamous comic book story from the early 2000s, but I'm going to bring it up. In Ultimatum, Magneto changes the fucking way the Earth is moving. And that's what causes that giant flood that kills thousands of heroes.
Yep.
And just people, and like millions of people.
Like he's just that guy.
Oh, Magneto, he doesn't kill everyone for respect for Eric, but if Eric was not in the picture, we'd be cooked.
Yeah.
Cooked.
Yeah.
Like when he stops the train, or like pulls the train out of the fucking thing, like bro. I mean, Xavier is also OP in and of itself. Like,
no, Xavier's OP as fuck, but Xavier doesn't go balls crazy like Magneto does.
The worst thing Xavier does is
like mind control people,
like freezes people in time.
Yeah,
like that's like the worst thing.
Magneto's like, oh, your boat, bet.
Yeah. Or like when Wolverine does literally anything to him, his only response is.
I love in the comics when Magneto goes against the Avengers and he's like, oh hey, Iron Man.
Captain America, Thor.
Yeah. All of those motherfuckers.
Literally everyone except for the Hulk.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Because the Hulk is just a naked green dude in purple shorts.
That's literally it. Like literally everyone else is wearing or uses metal in some kind.
Dude, that shit's so
Black Widow uses bullets.
Yeah.
Hawkeye uses arrows.
Yeah, exactly, bro.
The Vision is made out of metal.
Yeah. Ant-Man. Guess what he's wearing?
Yeah. Literally on top of his chrome dome.
Yeah. Chrome dome.
Yeah. Like insane.
You ever seen a video like in like 2016? I forget what it was called, but it was after Age of Ultron came out and was like Magneto would solve this problem in 4 seconds.
Yeah.
He would be, Ultron.
Yeah, literally.
Crush him. Yeah.
X2
is really good.
X2 is amazing. It's a great movie. I mean, we're not gonna pick through every single movie that we have.
X-Men: The Last Stand.
This is all you. I haven't seen it.
I've
saw like bits and pieces of it, obviously, but I haven't.
I'm trying to relate it to like,
although there is a really hard line that also again plays into the differences between people and humans and things like that. When Magneto meets up with I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I just saw this clip of when Magneto is talking to a mutant, and she's like, "You're a mutant. Where's your ink?" Mm-hmm. And he says, "I've been marked once before, and let me assure you, my dear, no needle will ever touch my skin again." And it's his like from the concentration camps. That's what he's wearing.
Yeah,
and that's what he shows. It's like,
dude, because people forget, like, bro, he was a Jew during the Holocaust.
Yeah,
this motherfucker
had his family. That's why he is the way he is, because not only was he exposed to that level of torment, and I mean, horrible things to happen to the entire, like all of the Jews, during World War II. But that's why, because then he finds out he's a mutant, and then humans just treat him like that regardless, and that's how he sees the world.
Yeah.
Which is just
the character development is elite.
Yeah, but it's great.
The Last Stand is you know what it is? It's the Thor Love and Thunder of the original X-Men movies.
Yikes.
Coming off a really good movie. Ragnarok was really good.
It was.
Coming off a really good movie. The expectations were high. The stakes could have been great, whatever. And it's like there
was just I think they were trying to do too much.
They tried way too much.
And I think that every X-Men movie really tries to do the Dark Phoenix. They really try, because it is a very big point in the X-Men lore.
It's one of the biggest stories in X-Men comics.
Yeah, history, I mean, thank God they got Days of Future Past right. Thank God. But
I actually have a lot to say about that movie.
It's not exactly 1-to-1 to the...
But good things. I have a lot of good things to say about that movie.
Yeah, I know. It's not exactly 1-to-1, but what they did with it, it's great. Yeah. But every attempt we've ever done with Dark Phoenix, it's just they don't get it. It's right. Like they don't. I don't know. Yeah, they're trying to dumb it down. more than what it is.
And they
I think
they also rushed it in this movie. Like they crammed it in, and she has like her Phoenix moment at the end, and it's like it's so awkward. It's just, and then there's a scene, and
they just don't know what to do with it. I think
there's a scene, and this is where this movie strays away from being super serious to just straight up goofy. There's a scene where Magneto is like flinging cars at the superheroes.
Yeah.
And I think it's Pyro. He's like lighting them on fire. So they're literally just getting like flaming cars like thrown at him. And it's like, all right, bro, like we're just getting into like a little CGI kind of goof fest right now.
Which, I mean,
and the final battle.
I mean, the opening's cool in the Danger Room.
Yeah, the opening's cool. The opening does not save this movie, unfortunately. It's not.
Yeah, no. I mean, there's no. This movie doesn't have a saving grace, unfortunately. But it is. Yeah, it's the black sheep of the family. It's the
redheaded stepchild.
Right, right.
But what that got us 3 years later was a movie by the name of X-Men: Origins of Wolverine. I know you want to talk about this movie.
I fucking love this movie.
You, I think, have a much higher perception of this movie than the general public.
Yeah.
So I want to hear your case why you love this movie.
So when I was a kid, when I was younger, obviously I was not born. I was born in 2003, so I wasn't alive for the first couple of X-Men movies, or like even conscious at that point. But the movie that I just was fucking obsessed with, I watched it on repeat, was X-Men Origins Wolverine. This was supposed to be the start of their new wave of X-Men movies. This was supposed the Origins movies, because the next one after this was supposed to be Magneto.
Yeah, I remember that.
They were going to do a whole Magneto movie about how he became Magneto, and
just basically what they did in First Class. They just condensed it,
right? But they just made it about the X-Men instead of the X-Men as a whole, instead of whatever. But this movie got me into not only the character of Wolverine, but just in general, like more like this was one of my early movies where I like, this is what got me into comics, like type
this
shit.
Is my shit type of thing.
Like this movie, I love it because it dives deep into Logan and who he was and who he still is.
Yeah.
Without getting into, I don't know. I understand why people don't like it. I get it. Deadpool, unforgivable.
Will.i.am is
unfucking forgivable.
This was peak Black Eyed Peas.
Will.i.am, yeah. And I don't even know what they were trying to do with him. He's not Nightcrawler. He's really weird. Not like.
Doesn't he have a funky accent too?
He just got like a southern accent.
Oh yeah, but doesn't it sound like shit?
Not really. That's the only thing that like.
Isn't the Blob in this movie?
The Blob is in this movie, but yeah, I mean Gambit. First appearance of Gambit, I'm pretty sure.
Channing Tatum. Psych.
No, it's not. And
that's something to talk about.
Yeah. But I mean, Gambit's good in this.
Yeah.
He's Gambit.
He's Gambit.
You can't really fuck him up.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to fuck up Gambit.
But you get basically the whole plot of this movie is just like Wolverine. First, it shows the actual origin of Wolverine.
Yeah.
Like early era America settlement era.
Yeah.
Wolverine when he's still going by James, and Sabretooth is his brother. That's not a thing in the comics.
I was gonna say that's not a thing in the comics, but I like that.
A thing. I like that.
That's cool.
I think it makes
adds more personal element.
I think that makes that hatred that much deeper because it's just
it's family.
Yeah, and since since birth, pretty much,
just
fucking Sabretooth was
on his ass.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time when they both like loved each other and cared about each other, but then just shit hit the fan and it just
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was I love it. I just love it. I again completely understand why people don't like it.
Is this the one where he's got the goofily animated claws? This is this one, right?
Yeah.
The claws kind of look like shit. I think they were trying something new and it did not
dude,
work.
The opening to this movie. Well, first of all, the cold open is Wolverine's origin and how he got the claws and the bone claws and all that shit. And then just the opening credits is Wolverine fighting in the Civil War alongside Sabretooth. It's Wolverine and Sabretooth in the Civil War, World War I, World War II, Vietnam. And then in Vietnam, they get captured and taken by what would go on to become the X, Project X or whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean, it shows Wolverine getting the adamantium into him, which is also a really fucking cool scene when he
Yeah.
comes out of the water and he's just like,
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Although I don't like why he lost his memory. That whole thing was stupid. Because I mean, he loses his memory during the process to become Weapon X, but then they retconned that and made it into he loses his memory because Stryker shot him in the head with an adamantium bullet. Okay.
Yeah, right. That is AKA we couldn't think of anything.
Yeah.
We throw that in there.
And they also ripped us away from the insanely cool thing that would have been. They did touch on it in Apocalypse though, when Wolverine comes out of the Weapon X program and he like goes into the forest in the snow.
Yeah, they touched on it. They didn't really do much with it.
They didn't. They touched on it, but they at least they gave us a little bit of it, which is cool. But yeah, I fucking love this movie. I love it. It was one of my biggest, one of my favorite movies growing up. Yeah. And also the guy that plays Sabretooth, Liev something, I don't know, something. Amazing as Sabretooth. Yeah, I fucking love that Sabretooth.
It ain't all about the money, Spider-Man.
Yeah. He's the guy he voices Kingpin. Yeah.
Into Spider-Verse.
But he kills it in this. He absolutely kills it. And Wolverine and him have this really cool fight scene out in a bar.
Yeah.
And he's like Stryker's enforcer.
Yeah.
He was. And Stryker didn't put him into the Weapon X program because he knew that he'd be too dangerous if he did have it, which is hard. Everything. I just love it.
Don't they kill his girlfriend or something in this movie?
No. It was a coup to get Wolverine back to whatever, which sucks. But we also get cameos from Emma Frost. We get an origin for Scott Summers. We get an origin for the Blob. We get Gambit, like I said. It's kind of a mini X-Men movie.
It is kind of a mini X-Men movie.
Yeah.
I don't remember having fond memories of it as a kid.
Yeah, listen, all I'm saying is if you haven't watched it in a while and you watched it as a kid like I did, I don't know, even if you watch it now, you probably won't like it. Maybe if you didn't like it then or you have a bad image of it. I know if you probably watch now, you'll probably think it's goofy. But just give it a rewatch.
You think
just for shits and giggles.
Everybody's got nostalgia movies. I'd be lying if I said.
Because I rewatched it recently and I texted him actually and I was like, bro, it's not as bad as everyone says. It's not nearly as bad as.
I think people shit on it largely because the Deadpool thing. And now they've seen Deadpool at its peak and they're like, oh, this is terrible. And nobody's denying they fucking shit the bed with
completely
with Wade.
Ruined that. Yeah.
Which I still think it's so funny that's Ryan Reynolds. And then
it still is, yeah.
Yeah, 7 years later.
I mean, hey, one person's played Wolverine and only one person has played fucking Deadpool.
And now we're getting them both in a movie.
Yep.
Anyway,